When you step over a pregnant woman, the child she's going to give birth to is going to be a look-alike of you, to be precise. That is, the child is going to look like you. This is a very common saying, if you ask me. Like, we hear it every now and then. And to be frank, a lot of us believed it while growing up. And I'm sure you did too. Maybe you don't anymore. But do you know why this is a lie or whether this is actually true? That is what we are going to be discussing today. And joining me is Mr. Bola Awate. Mr. Bola Awate is the president of Association of Medical Students, University of Lagos. And he has been on the show quite a number of times. And he's going to be joining us to debunk this rumor again today. Before I go ahead, welcome to Afia Health and Lifestyle Interview Series, Debunking the Rumor segment. And do well to like, subscribe, follow, and turn on the notification on our page. Yes, we look forward to you constantly viewing our content so that we can keep growing and you can keep learning. Without wasting time, I'll be bringing up Mr. Bola Awate. So Mr. Bola Awate can explain how possible is it, or it is, to be precise, for you to step over a pregnant woman and for the child to look exactly like you. Join me to welcome Mr. Bola Awate. Good day to you, Mr. Bola Awate. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. How are you all doing at the studio? And how's everyone in the audience? I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you for
All
having me.
right, we're fine. Thank you for joining us once again. Um, you've been here quite a number of times. You've been on our show multiple times.
Mm.
And this time around, we have a very common rumor to debunk. When you step over a pregnant woman, a child is going to be a look-alike of you. What do you think? When was the first time you heard this?
That was like when I was about 10 years old or thereabouts. That was the first time I heard about it. And what I think about it, I think it's possible. It's actually possible if you are the father of the child. If the child is not, I think that or if
I can see
the
what you
child is
did there.
related
I
to
can
you.
see what you did there.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so if you are not related to the child, if the child is not your child, then it is not possible. Like you don't just step over a pregnant woman and then somehow by some magic the child ends up looking like you. In fact, when I was young, around the age of 10, what I actually heard was if you step over any woman, not whether she's pregnant or not, even if she's a girl, if you step over that lady, like her leg, the child she will eventually have would look like you. And because that was the rumor I heard, it wasn't specifically for pregnant women. I think the rationale for it, for coming up with that myth, was because it is actually rude to step over people. And you know, most of these myths that we have in the African parlance or the Nigerian parlance, they are mostly made to guide character. And it is commonly believed that it is rude to step over a person. Like, why are you stepping over a person? You should ask, excuse me, let me pass. Let me, could you excuse me so I would move? Or something like that, basically. You shouldn't step over a person. That's the idea of how that myth came up, I believe, personally. I've also heard that it's because it increases the chances of you stepping on the pregnant woman or tripping her, making her fall down. And nobody wants that to happen to a pregnant woman. Like she's pregnant, you do not want her to fall down. It's not good. So that's why I feel like uh, that myth came up. And really, if we're talking about how does the child actually get their looks, like how does the child get their looks? That is really based on genetics. So the genes of the mother and the genes of the father crossing over. So the only crossing over that can affect the look of a child is the crossing over of genes, not the crossing over of the legs. You understand? So so yeah, those it's so that's why you can have the child looking like some relatives, even though they are distant relatives, because the genes of those relatives, for instance, I look like my grandfather. I don't look like my mom. I don't look like my dad, but my mom inherited some of her father's genes, and in the crossover of their genes, I inherited some of his facial features. So that can those are the things that can influence how a child looks eventually. So yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bola. The thing is, I don't know the question to ask you anymore because you've taken your time to not only talk about why that myth must have come to being in the first place. You also went ahead to talk about how people actually get their physical and their features generally, genetically. And of course, you dropped a couple of jokes here and there. I heard that. I heard that. So I just want to say, moving on. Um, what advice do you have for people concerning this? In as much as we are saying, oh, it doesn't mean that if you cross somebody's leg, doesn't mean that they'll give birth to a child like you. But at the same time, we want to encourage them not to do that because it can be dangerous and all of that. So, in just a few words, what advice would you like to give our viewers before we go?
All right. So yeah, so it's just a simple thing, really. Don't cross over people. No one really likes it. Do not get on people's nerves by crossing over them, especially if they do not like it. And secondly, be careful with how you behave around pregnant women because they have to be taken care of. You do not want to put them in danger. So if really crossing over them or walking or moving recklessly around a pregnant woman can actually put her at risk. You should avoid that. You should be careful when you're in the midst of pregnant women. That's really why for instance, they have priority seating in banks, for instance, and other public places because they are a special um, category of people. So you need to be careful how you address yourself or how you your mannerisms and your movements around them. Yeah. So
Thank you very much, Mr. Bola, for joining us. It's nice to have you. We look forward to having you on our show some other time.
yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, our dear viewers, like he said in his own words, the only crossing over that can make the child look like you is crossover of genes. So just, it is a myth, it is not true. It is not true. It is not true. All right, thank you for joining us on After Health Lifestyle Interview series today. We look forward to seeing you some other time. Remember, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification. Thank you. Take care of yourself and have a very good day.